Hey YouTube, it's Marida and welcome to another edition of the Nurse Lounge. And in this edition, we're going to talk about, is working overtime really worth it as a nurse? If you want to see what I'm talking about, stay tuned. We are back. My name is Dr. Marida P. I am a registered nurse, been a nurse for 16 years. I am an OB/GYN, well baby nurse. I am a nurse educator. I am a nurse mentor. I am doctorally prepared, and I currently work at a HBCU. So let's jump into this video. I just left bedside in August of 2020, and this is December of 2020. So I just left bedside myself, and I've had many students, even in my classes right now, who said, oh, I'm going to make that money. I'm going to do this, that, and the other. So let's talk about, for just a minute, is it really worth working overtime? And the quick answer, the short of it all, of it is yes and no. Yes, it's worth it, and then no, it's not. So what do I mean by that? We're about to dive into that just right now. So what do I mean by yes? Yes, it is worth it. Well, when you have situations in which you need to, let's just say you want to pay for a trip, you want to get a little bit of furniture, you want to, you got some bills you want to get caught up on, then yes, it's worth it. But it's not worth it if you are one of those who this is your plan. Your plan is to work overtime every single pay period. Again, short term, yes, it's a great thing to do. Long term, you're going to be facing burnout. You get most of your money taken away in taxes anyway at that same job. Now, I will say this, and I talked about this in another video. Depending on how you do your taxes, I don't recommend you work a lot of overtime at the job that you have. If it's mandatory overtime, I'm not talking about that situation because it's required for the job. If it's not mandatory overtime, but you always sign it up, this is who I'm talking about. So let's say they say, hey, we're offering a differential or an incentive pay or whatever it is if you work this extra shift. And you're like, okay, the holidays are coming up. Let me go ahead and work this extra shift. We're here, there, whatever. Well, keep in mind, the more shifts you work, the less money you're going to see from that check. Okay, especially at the same job. So what I recommend that you do is, if you really want to work overtime or make more money, is you should not be working no more than one extra shift per pay period. Because if you work one shift and you get paid a certain amount of money, by the time they tax you on that, because you now made over, you are getting time and a half. By the time they tax you, by the time your 401k, if you have benefits coming out of that amount as well, you only gonna see $100 to $200 of that check, depending of that particular day. Not the whole thing of that one extra day. And at the end of the day, that's not really worth it. You worked a whole extra 12-hour shift just to get an extra couple of $100? No. So what you really want to do is you really want to go find a PRN gig somewhere. So you want to have your main job. And then after you have your main job, you want to go somewhere else. And then maybe you do 2 shifts at that job. You're not going to be taxed the same. Now, does it all add up at the end of the year? Yes. But what we're talking about right now is getting more of your money on the front end. Okay. So meaning that if I go work one shift at my PRN job, I'm going to get more of that money because it's not going to be taxed to death because I've only worked one shift at this other gig. If I work 3 shifts at my main job, now I work an extra shift, so it's 4 shifts. You don't even start getting overtime, honestly, until you hit 40 hours, after 40 hours. So if you only work 36 hours, you still have to work 4 hours of that other shift to make 40. And then the other 8 hours is overtime at that point in time, if that's how you all work. You're not making any money that way. So however y'all want to dice it is how you want to dice it. The grand scheme of things is it worth working overtime as a nurse? The short answer for short-term goals, yes, it is. Now, if you want to capitalize on how much money you actually bringing in, you need a strategy for that, a different strategy for that. Because if you keep on say, okay, well, I will work one extra shift, every pay period, you're not going to see as much money in the extra shift as you would if you had went to a PRN job and worked one shift over there. So I always say work the 3 shifts over here and then go work your one other shift at your other gig. And then you can see more of that money coming in. That's what I highly recommend. That's what I did. I mean, we're in the South, so we don't get paid as much in the South as you all do maybe out West or up North or things like that. However, let's just say, for instance, I made $500 for one shift. Well, if I made $500 for one shift, this is my extra shift, okay? If I made $500 for my extra shift and I worked and I added that to my 36 hours, then that $500, I'm probably going to bring home $250 of that. So if you worked, you made $500, but $200, over half that check went to taxes, went to 401k, went to things like that. I'm not capitalizing on that. Now, what I did was I went and got me a job at another hospital, PRN, and I worked that one shift. And let's just say for the number, I made $500. I would actually probably bring home $450 of that check, because they still take out taxes and things like that. But because it's PRN, I don't have any benefits coming out of that. And I probably don't have no 401k coming out of that, unless there's a hospital who does provide 401k for PRN employees. But for the most part, you don't have as much coming out of that check. So where you made $500, you may have $450 coming home versus $250 coming home. So which one would you really want? So it depends on how you look at it. It's all about mindset. I like to make my money. I like to make my money and bring home my money. So if I got to go out there and work like a Hebrew slave, you best to believe that slave income, that money better come with it. I need my money. So long term, no. Long term, it is never a good idea to work a whole lot of overtime, because you're going to break yourself down. You're going to have burnouts. You're going to have, like I said, burnout. You're going to be, your health risks go up because your immune system is broken down because you're working so much. You're not getting adequate sleep, and then you're increased risk for making medical errors in some capacity, whether it be charting errors, medication errors, intervention errors. You're at more risk to do that. So I would simply say it's a great tool short term, not a great term long term. And then at the end of that, watch how you're getting your money. How are you getting paid? So this is short and sweet and to the point. If you have questions about this video, definitely comment those in below. If you want to follow me on IG, it will be sitting here on the page. Definitely follow me over there if you choose to. And until the next time, you all take care. Bye-bye.